Okay, so when we divided 5 into 2, we get 0.4. So now we have a decimal. To get that to a percent, we're going to follow my Dr. Pepper acronym here. So we're at a decimal, we want to go to percent, so we're going to move the decimal 2 places to the right. So that would be 1, 2, and that's 40%. So 0.4 is the same as 40%. So if I said something is 40%, and I said make that a decimal, you start where the percent is, and you move it 2 places to the left, 1, 2, and it would go back to 0.4. Okay, so number 13, 1/5. So 1/5 is the same as 5 into 1. You have to have make a 0 place. Whoops. Okay, so 5 goes into 10 2 times. That's even. So it's 0.2. So 1/5 is equal to 0.2. That's our decimal. To make that as a percent, so decimal to percent, we move the decimal place to the right 2 places. 1, 2. So same as 20%. Okay, 6/100 for number 14. Now that's a little bit easier because remember, if anything's over 100, we could think of it as 6 pennies over 100 pennies, out of 100 pennies. But that's going to be 0.06. And then if we move our decimal, make it a percent, we do 2 places to the right, 1, 2, it's 6%. Which if you get a 6 out of 100 on the test, then you would get a 6%. So not a very good grade, but you can think of it in that way as well. Okay, 5/8. So 8 will go into 5. Then add a decimal. 8 goes into 5 6 times. That gives us 48. So we have a remainder of 2. Bring down our 0. 8 goes into 20 2 times. 2 times 8 is 16. Remainder of 4. Add another 0. 8 goes into 40 5 times. Okay, so our decimal is 0.625. So if we're going to make that a decimal or a percent, we're going to move it 2 places to the right, so 1, 2. So that's equal to 62.5%. And it encourages on here to go ahead and write it as a fraction. So we know 0.5 is the same as 1/2. So we don't want to have a decimal within a percent because we technically are getting rid of the decimal. So 62.5%. Okay, and then number 16, 25/100. So 25/100 is going to be the same as 0.25. It's 25 hundredths, and that would be 25 hundredths. And then if we move our decimal 1, 2 places to the right, 25%. Okay, 22D, so page 308. I'm just going to do that quick review. This is finding a percent of a number. So to do this, you have to change the percent back to a decimal and then multiply it. So it's using a couple things that we did. So remember Dr. Pepper. So good. So decimal to percent. So if we're given a percent, let's say 45, we're going to find out 45% of 200. The first thing is you can't multiply your percent by your whole number. And remember, of is multiplying. So a lot of things are coming together here that we've been just adding week after week. But let's first change our percent to a decimal. So we're starting at a percent. We want to move it to a decimal. So it's going to be 2 places to the left since we're going to decimal mode. So that would be 0.45. Now we can multiply that of 200. So 200 times 0.45. So 5 times 0 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. Do a placeholder. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 2 is 8. And then we have 2 decimals, or 2 numbers behind the decimal. So 1, 2. So 90. So 45% of 200 is 90. And then the example 2, 8% of 35. So if you have 8% of 35. So making our decimal, or our percent, into a decimal. So we start with our percent. We want to go to decimals. We're going to go 2 places to the left. So 1, 2 is 0.08 of 35. So we're multiplying it by 35. So 35 times 0.08. We got 40. 8 times 3 is 24. Plus 4, 28. And 2 numbers behind the decimal. So 1, 2. So 8% of 35 is 2.80 or 2.8. Okay, so I'm going to let you do 12 through 14, and there will be some other ones through the review. Next week, don't be scared. Just answer the best you can. I'm not going to take off any since this was a hard lesson. You're not going to give as much feedback during our teaching time. So I know there's a lot going on. So we'll probably do a participation grade, but I do want you to do it. So 21B, 22B, 22D, E, and F.